All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our first Finance Committee meeting of 2026. Today is Wednesday, June 7th. It is 5 p.m. In taking roll, we have all members present with the exception of our Vice Chair, Friedrich, who is unable to join us this evening. With roll call complete, that takes us to item number 2 with the consent agenda, including the approval of minutes from the December 3rd, 2025 regular meeting and the recommended approval of bills and transfers, if any, to the county board. Might I have a motion to put it on the floor? Motion by member Leffler and a second by member Roseman Mendoza. Comments, questions? Seeing no comments or questions on the bills and minutes of the regular meeting for our consent agenda, all of those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. Item number 3 on the agenda this evening is appearance by members of the public and county employees. Administrator Taylor, have we had anyone apply?
Chair Lehman, we've had no requests this evening.
All right, with no requests, that carries us on to item 4 with our departmental matters, where we get to welcome, first and foremost, our Director of Animal Control, Marshall Thompson. Ms. Thompson, thank you very much for being here with us this evening. 4A1 recognizes that you have no items to be presented for action, but 4A2 allows you the opportunity to share information, including your monthly report. So I'll turn it over to you.
Happy New Year. Looking forward to 2026. So things are going really well. We're getting organized. We're starting to get more in our groove in the new building. So really looking forward to all the things that we're going to accomplish to the year coming up. Does anyone have any questions or anything about the year report that we had, the accumulation of information and data? It was a great year. We did a lot of good things and helped a lot of animals and rabies vaccinations and microchipping and altering and adoptions, transfers, reclaims. So it was a very successful year, including moving into our beautiful new facility.
Definitely excited to continue to see the work that you and your team do in that new facility with all of the excitement, support, and focus from the community on the great work that you're doing. I did have a question for you. So we're in the stage, first meeting of the new year. I'd just love to know, from your department standpoint, what are you most proud of from 2025?
2025, the collaboration and coordination and team unity that the entire county organization as a whole was able to contribute to building our beautiful facility, and everyone worked really hard, and I'm so proud of the achievement, and the community is really starting to blossom, and they're coming out more, and they're saying thank you, they're showing appreciation, and it is just remarkable how much everyone values the investment that we as this group and this community has placed on the program that we now call Animal Services. So I am looking forward to 2026. Super excited.
Awesome. And thank you for the reminder, Animal Services. We might want to adjust our packets moving forward to say Animal Services Program, if we could make that notation for next month. Okay. Final call for comments or questions from the Committee for Animal Services. All right. Thank you very much for all that you've done through the course of 2025. Thank you for your commitment to the county and for being here this evening and sharing your report. We'll go ahead and carry on to item 4B. This is where we get to welcome the County Clerk's Department. With the County Clerk's Department, Ms. Michael wasn't able to join us this evening, but we do have the Election Supervisor, Mr. Singer, present. Thank you very much for your presence this evening. It looks like we do have a couple items for action coming out of the County Clerk's Department. So item 4B1A is the request approval of a subscription agreement between SOE, Software Corporation, and McLean County. Might I have a motion to put this one on the floor? Motion by member Farley, second by member Klaus. Okay, we'll go ahead and turn it over to you, Mr. Singer, for any information that you'd like to share with us ahead of this item.
Thank you very much for having me and being able to bring this to you guys' attention. The first one I was going to bring up was the software agreement with SOE. This is post-election results being posted on election night. This has been a a topic for us that we really want to have more stability. We have, since 2020, we have never had a vendor put up our election totals. We've had team members from our office put in many hours, actually sometimes over a 24-hour period in getting these election results up and correctly, right? It's the graphic design and stuff like that. We have found in other counties and including Bloomington elections, they've been using this SOE for some time now. They feel it's been really good, and we do too. They have a 99.9% approval rate, and they have been fantastic. They've been calling us, been communicating with us, and the same thing with Bloomington elections. So we feel it's going to be a really good partnership, and plus also for the voter, just seeing a stability of the same, and it's easy to read. I think that'll be a huge win for McLean County voters and residents.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I do want to say an extra thank you to you and the team who's responded to various questions ahead of tonight's information. And
We appreciate those
conversation.
questions too. We always look out. We want to get ahead and be transparent. So again, thank you, Chair Lehman, for those questions, and County Board Member Mark Hawes. We appreciate that.
Comments or questions from the committee on this particular item? All right, seeing no questions, we'll go ahead and vote on 4B1A. That's a request approval of the subscription agreement between SOE Software Corporation and McLean County. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you.
Continuing on with the County Clerk's Department, 4B1B is a request approval of a sales order agreement with Election Systems and Software. Might I have a motion to put it on the floor? Motion by Member Leffler, second by Member Bessler. Back over to you, Mr. Singer.
Thank you again for taking the time to hear me out about this. This is our PYO, Program Your Own. Make a long story short, when we create ballots in the election division, we have to send a file to a company, our vendor out in Oklahoma. That poses some risks because of the fact that there's other counties that they do, and if there was a change or something that needs to be done, it seems like we are put back a little bit behind. So we were looking at this for a while, and we made it our mission to start preparing ourselves for this. Our team has been being prepared and has been working with this system, and we know it because this is an everyday process when it comes to the elections. But it's more than just building the ballot. It's not starting from scratch. It's plug and play. It's actually really quite easy. We're going to be putting in the candidates and the information, the offices. It's going to be the proofing, right? That's where we have to make sure it's perfect ballots, and this is going to be one step closer in having perfection and a timely manner in getting our ballots distributed to the public out on time. So we're excited for this. This is something that we feel is going to be a benefit, especially getting sample ballots out to the voters and just being ready more efficiently.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So it sounds
Thank
like
you.
the name of the game here is increased end user experience as well as some definite efficiency in the long term.
Yes, most
That's
definitely.
great to hear. Comments or questions from the committee on this one? Member Klaus.
Thanks, Chair. One further question I thought of, do we
Yes,
still have to use a vendor then to print the ballots? Because you're designing the ballots, so there's still a third party that will do the printing, and is that local? We were talking about those last minute situations, you're taking one vendor out, but we still do have another third party to print the actual ballots?
That is a great question, County Board Member Mark Cause. Yes, we do have a vendor that prints our ballots for Election Day. So, but we do have the ability to print in-house. So if that needed to be, and we needed to print ballots, we would not reach out to a vendor. We'd be printing it in-house immediately. So and as far as test decks go, because we have to test the ballots before the election, we are having the ability now to print them in-house. Before, we would have to reach out to a vendor to print. So it's a lot easier now.
Questions? Member Bessler.
Well, thank you for putting this together. You mentioned in the memo $13,000 in savings. Could you just outline for community members what that $13,000 in savings will come from?
Yes, and that is a great question. Thank you so much for bringing that up. It's the cost of building the ballot. So $13,000 in savings is just for this primary and not the general. So if you add that another 13,000 to the general, we're already over in the 20s. This is, again, we are going to be doing it. This will be, our staff payroll, but again, no one else going to be doing it. So it's a little bit more controlled and more secured. That's how we look at it. Thank you for the question.
Right. Final comments or questions? All right, let's go ahead and vote on 4B1B. That's a request approval of the sales order agreement with Election Systems and Software. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Moving along to 4B2, we have the monthly reports from the recording division. Any additional information or comments or questions that anyone has from the recording division's monthly report or other information for the county clerk's department? All right. Thank you very much for your presence this evening, Mr. Singer. Definitely appreciate you being able to weigh in and answer additional questions. Cheers. Item number 4C is where we will go to the County Auditor Department with Ms. Michelle Anderson. It doesn't appear that Ms. Anderson is here this evening. Ms. Anderson has no items to be presented for action, and it appears no item has been presented for information this evening either, so we'll carry on to 4D with our Supervisor of Assessments, Mr. Timothy Jorsak. Thank you for your presence here this evening, Mr. Jorsak. It looks like you have no items to be presented for information, for action, but you do have items to be presented for information, I'm assuming, in the way of your emails and any additional information from your department.
Thank you, Chair Lehman, members of the committee. Excuse me, I just had a couple points of information. Thanks for having me here tonight. Wanted to give you an update on where we are. The Board of Review finished its work, had its last meeting on the 19th of December. We are dropping the final notices in the mail here very soon. They're all printed and folded. We're just waiting for the mailing to get done on those. So that'll close out the Board of Review for the year. And with that, we have our final abstracts submitted down to Springfield. We got word that they've been received, and they're just going to go through and do their checks on them. And we should have a final word on that. And then we will be done with our end of the 2025 payable 2026 property tax cycle. Along with that, at the end of this month, we are going to be mailing notices for the senior freeze and other homestead exemptions that we offer. We generally mail those notices out in January. Now, there's going to be a big change on this year. For those who haven't heard, the governor signed the property tax, what I call the minibus property tax legislation, that increased the threshold for the senior citizens freeze. Senior citizens freeze is an income capped benefit that goes to senior citizens. If their income is below a certain threshold, they can have their property tax assessment frozen as long as their income meets that qualification. That number had been set at $65,000 for about the last decade. As we all know, costs have gone up. That number didn't change for a long time. So we've kind of been waiting to see when the legislature is going to come along and increase that. Well, they finally did. They bumped it up to $75,000 for 2026. Now, here's the rub on that. It is for 2026 assessment year, which is taxes payable 2027. So the notices folks are going to be getting in the mail in January are going to reflect that new $75,000 threshold. But they will not see that on their tax bill in June. So that's one thing we are going to get, and you will probably get questions from taxpayers about that, saying, hey, I thought they raised that threshold, why am I not getting the benefit? Well, it didn't go into effect until taxes payable next year. So we're trying our best to educate folks about this change and what it's going to be. It will help a lot more taxpayers get this benefit, which we are very, very excited about. There is just going to be this little bit of a learning curve on it. The good news about it as well is they didn't just do it for 1 year. It's going to be a staggered increase over the next 3 years. So next year for 2026 payable 2027, the threshold goes up to $77,000 a year. And then the year after that, 2027 payable 2028, the threshold goes up to $79,000. And then it'll stay at $79,000 indefinitely until they make a change on that. And so it will bring some structured long-term relief to residents. It's just going to be an issue of education, letting folks know how the timing is going to work. But it will be an added benefit that a lot of folks are going to get positive results from. So with that, if you have any questions, I'm here, happy to answer them. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jorsak. Definitely appreciate you highlighting that in the email that your department regularly sends out, but also coming tonight to be able to better explain that to us, because I think it's definitely going to be helpful as we're engaging with our constituents. Comments or questions from Mr. Jorsak? All right, seeing none, let's continue on to 4B. We get to welcome our County Treasurer, Ms. Becky McNeil. Ms. McNeil, thank you so much for the time and for joining us this evening. Do have one item for action. 4E, 1A is accept and place on file the County Treasurer's monthly financial reports, which we have just received. Might I have a motion to put it on the floor? Motion by Member Loeffler, second by Member Farley. Go ahead and turn it over to you, Ms. McNeil.
Good evening. The first report you have is the tax summary, and this report reflects 12 months of receipts. Although as we move into 2026 here, governmental accounting requires us to accrue January, February, and March of 26 back to 25. At that time, we're also going to be moving those 3 months out of 25. But at the same time, what we're doing is we are leveling out 12 months according to the date that it was earned. The revenue for the month of December was $1,498,605 compared to December of 2024, which was $1,120,000. The good thing about this number coming in higher right now is the first 3 months, when I talk about this accrual process where we have to back out January, February, March, and then back in the first 3 months of 2026, is the receipts at the beginning of the year were quite lower than the receipts here at the end of the year. So that's going to help us meet our overall bottom line. The total year-to-date is $16,879,000. Just slightly under budget, again, so hopefully we'll make that up over the next 3 months with those accruals. The column off to the right, I don't itemize this for you, I don't show you the details, but you can see on the ROT what was budgeted and what the actual receipts were. We were over by $1 million there. The income tax pretty much came in almost flat to budget, and then the PPRT. Again, that PPRT, we knew that PPRT was going to shift. We've talked about that. We have no control over how Illinois Department of Revenue adjusts these. So we knew that our ROT was coming in higher and our PPRT was coming in lower. Fortunately, we pretty much have met our budget. So the next category is the shared sales tax revenue from the Town of Normal and City of Bloomington. Those receipts for the month of December were $508,000. Total for the year, $5,802,000. And the fund equity in that fund is $21,586,000. Property tax revenue, this hasn't changed over the prior month. We had a budget of $49.3 million. We received $48.2 million. 99.72% of our property tax levy was received. The next category is the motor fuel tax. Again, the renewal is coming in higher than the actual. You can see those receipts there for the month of, those amounts that we received for the month of November. This is another category where the stuff that, the receipts that come in the month of January, we're going to be backing into 2025. The total county motor fuel tax for fiscal year 2025 at this point, $4,200,000, and township motor fuel for $3,500,000. The next report is the investment report, and the Fed did move on the rate. The Fed changed the rate during the month of December, and that's reflective in our rates as well. We have about a 0.2% drop in our rates. And when we went out to get our treasuries, they were also just about 0.25% lower. So, but we still have a lot of great rates on this report, obviously. This is an unusual time. We've been so blessed during 2024 and 2025 with, and 2023 with these high rates. But I think that we're going to see these rates come down and level off a little bit. We're definitely not going to be seeing interest income of what we were seeing in 2024 and 2023 when we get into 2026. But overall, across the board, you can see all the different categories there that we invest, all the different funds that we're investing for, $128,560,000. The interest earned in 2025 through the month of November, $3,869,000. The next report is the Blue Cross Blue Shield report. Or I'm sorry, the next report is the nursing home report. The nursing home for the month of November, their primary sources of revenue, $683,000. The year-to-date, and again, this is all based off of accrual. We are accrued through the month of November. There is a significant amount of entries that still have to be put in for the month of December and for 2025. The accrued revenue and transfers through the end of November, $9,272,000. Expenses, $9,596,000. The receivable at the end of November was $4,757,000. There's about $100,000 in adjustments that we're still waiting to be entered. Cash, negative $1,676,000. The fund equity at the end of November was $1,078,766. Keep in mind, we have that $2.9 million reserve for bad debt as well. The next report is the Blue Cross Blue Shield report. Reflects full 12 months of activity. Again, this is another area where there's going to be some accrual work that's going to be done. Incurred but not reported will be accrued into 2025 once that information is released to us by Blue Cross Blue Shield. But through the month of December, the county had total expenses of $8,652,277. That was over 2024 by $1,261,986. Keep in mind, we are self-insured. That means that whatever claims are incurred, we pay the full price of. We don't have another form of insurance in this area. We do have our stop loss, and during the month of December, well, for the fiscal year, we had total stop loss adjustments of $307,646. There have been years in which our stop loss adjustment has been over $1 million. So fortunately, during 2025, we did not have those major losses. The next report, last month I had said that I was going to bring you a summary, like a balance sheet on the Employee Benefit Fund. And when you look at the bank account, we have between deposits and investments, we have $17,130,000. That's the fund balance in the Employee Benefit Fund. And again, we are self-insured, so it's very important that we keep a healthy fund balance in this account. The middle section of this report are the liability lines where the employee premiums go into. And then we pull from that for the employee premiums, and then we pull from our revenues, our transfers for the employer premium, the employer side of the premium. Again, overall, fund equity, $16,792,000. Of that, about 1.7 million is cash. This report does not, this balance sheet does not reflect the payment out for that December premium. And the total expenses out of the fund were $6,115,000. Transfers, and I say transfers because there's really not a significant source of revenue going into this fund. We've got the employee contributions. Those are coming in as liabilities that we pull, payables that we pull from. But the $6,115,000, that was our employer expense.
Thank you very much. Definitely appreciate you sharing the monthly report with us, as well as the additional employee benefit plan information. So thank you very much, Ms. McNeil. We'll pause and see if we have any comments or questions from the committee based on the treasurer's monthly financial report. Nope, seeing no questions, we'll go ahead and put 4E1A to a vote. That's accept and place on file the county treasurer's monthly financial report. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. 4E2A is any other information. Ms. McNeil, do you have any other information you'd like to share with the committee this evening?
No, thank you.
Final comments or questions? Carrying us on to item 4F with welcoming our nursing home director, Mr. Tim Wiley. Mr. Wiley, thank you for your presence here this evening. We will be pulling item 4F1A from the agenda this evening. There was an error. So item 4F1B will now be the first item that we will discuss for action this evening. So 4F1B is the request approval to reclass of infection prevention RN and MDS care coordinator RN administrative nurse positions. Might I have a motion to put it on the floor? Motion by member Bessler, second by member Klaus. Mr. Wiley, we'll turn it over to you for any information that you'd like to present before we discuss.
Good evening and Happy New Year. Both of these positions are required by regulation, and the facility has had these positions historically. We've just been pulling them from the direct care RN FTEs. In reviewing those positions, we took into account the fact that they both require by regulation additional certification. They require, for our preference, more extensive experience, and they do have managerial responsibilities in that they're part of the nurse management team and they take on-call. They're in the on-call rotation, and for that reason, that and to differentiate them from the floor nurses so that we're not using up RN FTEs for non-floor positions, we are requesting its reclassification.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wiley. Comments or questions from the committee? Okay, seeing no comments or questions, we'll go ahead and vote on item 4F1B, the request approval to reclass infection prevention RN and MDS care coordinator RN administrative nurse positions. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much for your presence here this evening, Mr. Wiley. Any other information that you would like to share with the committee?
I'm often accused of having more information to share.
That's great.
A couple exciting points of interest. First of all, we have wrapped up Phase 2 of our construction project, and we are heading full speed into Phase 3, which is the biggest and the boldest. But we're excited about that. We're ahead of schedule, actually, and that is good news for us. Also, in the month of November, the nursing home acquired a 4-star rating on the CMS website, so we're very pleased with that. The team has put in a lot of hard work to accomplish that.
Congratulations on your 4-star rating. That's absolutely exciting. Other comments or questions based on anything Mr. Wiley just shared? Thank you again for giving us a little bit of an update. It's not often that we get to interact with you here in finance, so thank you for your time this evening. And let's see. Oh no, I let committee chairs off the hook of not sharing their what they're proud of for 2025. Is it okay if I'm a little if we go back? So Ms. McNeil. All right, Ms. McNeil, do you mind if I pick on you a little bit? I'd love to hear.
I'm all for it.
Thank you very much. Sheriff Lane says yes, so I believe we can. I'd love to hear what are you most proud of for 2025? I think we missed getting to hear a little bit more from Mr. Jorsak, but would love to hear from you. Considering your department, you all have been very busy this year. So looking back, what are you most proud of? For looking back on 2025, what are you most proud of that you and your team have accomplished?
And it truly has been a tremendous, tremendous team effort. But the work in which we have all dedicated and put into this ERP project. There's just no way to describe the hours and hours. I mean, essentially half of, I would almost say that half of our week has been somewhat dedicated towards the trainings, just the conversations, the planning, and that's not just my office. I mean, like administration and information technology, and we have been so blessed to have an outstanding project manager working with the county on this. But we also have one of our former IT employees who retired. I don't know why he took on this job, because I can imagine some of the things that he's seen has created a lot of anxiety in his life, because it's created anxiety for me too. But he just has, he is personally invested in it. And anyway, but I mean, that truly, it's been a long, 2025 was a very long year for a number of other reasons, but we're excited about 2026. There's going to be a lot of change. We're going to have to deal with some change management. We're going to have to work things out. We're going to be further leveraging technology and what we are doing. But I'm excited about the changes that are coming to the future. For the county board to embrace this project. I haven't had an opportunity to really thank you for being behind this project, for helping us fund it. Because, you know, when you think about departments like that are involved in finance and budgeting, you know, when it comes to needs, operational needs, the sheriff is probably going to get his cars before we get a new financial system.
Which is appropriate.
What? and, the highway, that when it comes to, those assets and those things that we need, for many, many years, those have been the priority. And we've had a great financial system, but it's really exciting to be part of this change that's going to happen in 2026, even though it's gonna be challenging. But we're going to work through it, and we're excited about that. So, thank you for your
Thank you
part.
very much, Ms. McNeil, and congratulations on a really robust and successful 2025. Here's to an even more successful 2026 with an ERP. And thank you for also obliging my off-the-cuff question. We'll go ahead and continue our agenda on this evening with item 4G, where we get to welcome our sheriff, Mr. Matt Lane. Excuse me, Sheriff Lane. Welcome and thank you for joining us this evening. 4G1A is the request approval of a resolution amending the funded full-time equivalent positions for resolution for 2026 Sheriff Department. Might I have a motion to put it on the floor? Motion by member Roseman Mendoza, second by member Farley. Sheriff Lane, over to you for any information that you'd like to share ahead of the discussion.
This is going to be, Ms. Taylor, this is the same as the last injustice, right? Because I didn't have this agenda printed off. Anyway, what this is I've taken the bailiffs that I was in charge of before and had a discussion with Jason Daisy, the jury commission director, and asked him to take them over because it was it's a challenging schedule to keep up with. And Mr. Daisy is much more in tune. He's much more involved in the movements in the courthouse and what cases are going, what are not. Basically, what I was doing is I was scheduling people, and he was directing them where to go and doing all the things during the day. And then they came to my office to fill out their timesheet. So instead of he's going to be he agreed he had the time to make the calls to get people scheduled, and that he could do the payroll, and that's all that's going to change really, because he directed them anyway. It just made sense to make this change.
Thank you very much, Sheriff Lane. Comments or questions? All right, this one seems pretty straightforward, and just being abundantly clear, everybody is in favor of this. Mr. Daisy is gung-ho and on board, ready to go.
He's been very good about it.
All right, wonderful.
Been very good about it.
Glad to hear it's a cohesive thing. All right, so 4G1A, we'll go ahead and put that to a vote. That's the request approval of the resolution amending the funded full-time equivalent positions resolution for 2026 Sheriff Department. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Mr. Lane or Sheriff Lane, we don't often get the pleasure of your presence, so I would ask, do you have anything else that you'd like to share with the committee, or any updates that would be helpful for us to understand?
I just shared with Justice that there's a lighting project going on in our jail. There's a problem with a relay of sorts that is obsolete and can't be found. And what it's going to cause us to do is to rewire a lot of things, put new control boxes in. At this point, in one pod, we are not able to, or one pod, one floor, we're not able to change the lighting. So when this thing went out, there's, if the lights were on and they were on full blast, they stayed on. We can't change that. There's no control over those lights. So if they were off, they stay off all the time, which is causing us an issue. We've provided masks of sorts for the inmates to wear if they to sleep and things like that, and tried to work around this, but it is a problem. The bad news is this is going to be a costly issue. There are several dozen boxes that will have to be rewired and a new control system. But we have to be able to control the lighting. It's very imperative, especially for anyone with a mental issue, to be able to control those lights and be able to dim them for their well-being. So we're trying to work around that and get those people where we can dim the lights, and work around what we have to. But at this point, all we know is it's going to be costly. Mr. Grant has been very good about, we're trying to coordinate so we don't have 5 different systems on lighting. We got the same system throughout. And we're working together with Mr. Grant Facilities and the Administrator's Office on getting a plan together. We've got some meetings set up soon to go over that with the vendors. And when we find out a number or a course of action, we'll let you know.
Thank you very much for that update. Comments or questions for Sheriff Lane? All right, I have one last question for you, if you would oblige. Just curious, what are you most proud of when you look back on 2025?
I think I'm very proud of the department as a whole, every part of it. This last April, I made the decision to start our own narcotics investigation unit, and those with our general detectives. So we didn't add anyone necessarily. They came on and they do general detective work and they do narcotics investigations. And they ended up with 37 felony cases this year. They work very closely with the state's attorney's office. And these are very solid, very good cases. They have done a lot of seizures, and they have put away a lot of drug dealers this year. There are much larger units that only do drug cases that are not getting this success in their units, and I'm very proud of those guys.
Thank you very much for sharing. That's great to get to hear a little bit about that wonderful success that your team had, especially since it is a new team. So,
Thank you.
Thank you for your presence this evening and your dedication to the county. We'll continue our agenda on this evening with item 4H, where we get to connect with our county administrator, Ms. Cassie Taylor, who has 2 items to be presented for action this evening. Item 4H1A is a request approval of an ordinance by the McLean County Board amending Chapter 50 in the McLean County Code. Might I have a motion to put it on the floor? Motion by Member Leffler, second by Member Roseman Mendoza. Administrator Taylor, would love to hear a little bit more about this one from you.
Thank you, Chair Lehman. So just to be clear, we did have a last-minute adjustment that you should have received by email. The wrong version was in the original submission to you, so please be referring to the second one that you received. The importance of this change that administration feels is necessary for Chapter 50 of the code is to establish more uniform policies throughout the county, those standards that we want to enact for initiating and processing disbursements. We also want to reduce the risk of late payments or any audit findings or inconsistent practices across our departments. We also want to clarify when and how invoices should be resolved and with what departments and who should be involved with that. And then we also have in this change clearer processes for our disposal of assets with indications of what you do with grant assets as opposed to like maybe general fund assets, and so we've distinguished that in the code as well. I would like to thank Rebecca McNeil in the Treasurer's Office for reviewing these with us to make sure that we were consistent with the processes in her department, and she did provide good feedback for that. So available to answer any other questions you might have with these changes.
Thank you very much, Ms. Taylor. Comments or questions for the committee? I have a question related to this section. It's not one of the areas that is redlined or new or removed. It's only redlined because it's a change in letter. It's on page number 75. It is under the asset disposal method section. It calls out that the county auditor shall make general annual report to the finance committee of the county board relating to fixed assets. That's not something that I'm familiar with. I was wondering if you can tell me a little bit more about what that particular report is, if we would have seen it, if we've maybe missed it along the way, and what recommendation we can do to make sure that we get that information, if we should be having it by statute.
So I don't believe that the county auditor is presenting that to this committee on an annual basis. I do know that there is a fixed asset report that is completed as part of the annual audit. She does ask departments to update assets and inform her of any disposals that have taken place in the year. So there is a report available. I believe it's just not being presented to this committee.
Okay, thank you very much for that information. I think that'll be helpful moving forward then. Other comments or questions? All right, let's go ahead and put, scroll. All right, putting item 4H1A to a vote. That's the request approval of an ordinance by the McLean County Board amending Chapter 50 in the McLean County Code. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. 4H1B is the request approval of an ordinance by the McLean County Board amending Chapter 116 of the McLean County Code. Might I have a motion? Motion by Member Bessler, second by Member Farley. Administrator Taylor.
Thank you again, Chair Lehman. So I want to back up a little bit and thank those that had work with Chapter 50. The lion's share of that work was completed by Kathy Dreyer and Tony Grant in my office, so I do thank them for all of that work. With Chapter 116, the majority of this work was completed by Taylor Williams and Tony Grant in looking at what we want to update with regard to our new ERP system that will be rolling out, making sure that we're consistent and we're following the practices and the processes that will be necessary for our new ERP. So in the memo on page 82, I did try to provide a few of the highlights or key elements that have changed in Chapter 116. We did revise the purchasing tiers and reinforced the procurement methods, tried to make that language easier to understand for our different departments. We updated the definitions, took out terms that we are no longer using or are no longer standard. We did adopt a top-down approach so that the beginning of the chapter would apply broadly, and then you have to kind of get into the nitty-gritty as you move down into the chapter. We also thought that would be easier for people when they're reviewing this code. And then it also provides additional details for contracts.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that clarity. Comments or questions? I gotta say, in reviewing the, so 50, which we just passed, 116 right now, it's really helpful to be able to see exactly how the processes fall in line, how everything goes from one thing to the next, and how the ERP system is really going to be built out and some of the flows that exist with it. So this is really helpful, not only I'm sure on your end with getting clarity with processes, but also on our end with really understanding the processes that exist and how they fall on a daily basis. So thank you, and thank you to everyone who spent a lot of time making sure that this is incredibly clear for all. No other comments or questions. We'll vote on 4H1B. That's the request approval of an ordinance by the McLean County Board amending Chapter 116 in the McLean County Code. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. This brings us along to H2 with other information. Ms. Taylor, any additional information that you would like to present this evening?
Well, following on with that same thing, I do have a couple of things I'd like to highlight. Our ERP status report for the end of December. Again, I want to thank Rebecca McNeil and her team. I'm glad that she's proud of all the work that they completed in 2025, because her office really was a pillar in keeping us on time with our project. And just to give you some exposure to all of the progress that we achieved in December, out of 18 working days with the holidays, we had 12 working meetings in December with Tyler for this project. We reviewed the iterations of conversions for vendors, checks and invoices, budget to actuals, and account balances. Our conversions are cleaner, but we're still doing a little bit of work with that. We caught up with our payment entry process for turn-ons to the treasurer for money received. We also set up the project codes for departments. We had meetings with CLA to answer questions about configuring the capital assets portion. We had step sheet creation, and I know that that is still a work in progress. There's a lot of work with those step sheets when you talk about process and workflow. And then training logistics were solidified because we have training coming up next week. So for January goals, we will be completing our testing and verification processes. We will be completing the verification of the conversion. We will be practicing post-conversion entries to move balances to the Treasury Fund, configuring capital assets and beginning the programming of that conversion, completing the step sheets needed for testing and training, and then delivering the training classes for invoice entry, purchases, requisitions, POs, for office managers and then approvers. So as we roll out this training, we're not trying to do all processes at once. We're staggering those. And so the first one is really for invoice entry and getting things into the system that way. And there's a few other things, but I think that's sufficient to explain where we're at with our ERP process. And lots of kudos to administration, treasurer's office, and IT for keeping this ball rolling.
Excellent. It's so exciting to hear that you're on the place where it's almost time for training. That's wild, and thanks to all who have gotten us to this place.
And I also would have one more
yeah,
update.
please.
We did have our initial kickoff planning meeting with CLA for the audit for 2025. That will be completed in 2026. So we do have dates set for field work and on-site work for that. We have estimated time frame for that report to be issued, and it will be presented in July to the committee for that July 8th Finance Committee. We do have confirmed acceptance from all of our players that is our goal. And we have some other timelines for that, but I just wanted to let you know that as far as those work sessions that we promised would be completed for this year, we have begun those with CLA, and we'll keep you apprised as we move through that process.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that update. It's great to hear that the audit process is off and rolling, or will be very, very soon.
Yes.
And we look forward to hearing the monthly updates on that process as well.
Very good. And then I do believe that Marshall Thompson has one more item to present this evening.
Could we pause and see if the committee might have questions on the ERP project
Absolutely.
or even the audit before we go to Ms. Thompson, if that's okay? Anyone have questions for Ms. Taylor on these two projects? Okay, cool. Thank you very much for that little bit of
Certainly.
grace. And then Ms. Thompson, would love to hear from you and see your presentation.
So December was a pretty wonderful, just lots of things are happening. And so I just want to take an opportunity to say thank you to some of the things and share with the board and the committee. Thomas Bell's been donating animal feed since 2018 to the animal services. And he came out for his yearly donation and was just so thrilled and happy and just loved all the progress that we've been able to accomplish, and you could just see it on their faces, and the animals were happy. And here's Bo, who's available for adoption, and he walks really well on a leash, and he's gained some momentum with some of the volunteers, and so they're coming and taking him for walks and enjoying the beautiful outside environment, even though it's cold. And so I give them a lot of dedication and props for wanting to come and help the animals and enjoy the new spaces. I want to thank Wishbone Canine Rescue for coming out more often on a regular basis and pulling animals for transfer into their adoption program, and further wanting to collaborate with us on how we can offer more vaccination and microchip clinic options as a team and as an effort together. And so they're coming pretty regular and watching and looking and learning and we're evolving together. And so that's been a very enjoyable process, seeing those collaborations make monumental efforts. And it's been uplifting and heartwarming, and so I wanted to make sure to share. We are also having younger volunteers come out and doing fun videos for their friends and their colleagues, and they're adopting animals and getting other people to come and adopt and volunteer. And it's like the wave has started. I mean, the ripple is going out there. And this is one of my favorite things that happened is Humane Society came out and just fell in love with how healthy the cats looked and how good they were behaviorally. And they just were oogling over all of the wonderful things that we've accomplished, and they could see a difference. And with that difference, they committed to taking almost 30 cats this week, and they took 14 yesterday, 7 today, and they'll get the remaining 12. And I'm sorry if my math is off there, by Saturday, making a huge dent in our population, reducing the cost that we are outlaying to take care of them, and then further committing that they are going to be more of a partner with us, and again, building collaborations and efforts to unify our communities so that we can move together and reduce the unwanted pets, reduce overpopulation, and again, strive to try to find better ways to manage the problems we all share. And it's just been it's just unbelievable. I just feel like it's one of these moments that I want to make sure I share, that you guys helped bring this together, and I wanted to say thank you so much for being a part of that. And administration had a lot of effort in that as well, and I want to thank everyone for all of those things, so thank you.
So as a reminder, would you say that the ventilation system in the new
Yes.
building?
Thank you. I was going to say the ventilation system in this building is making a huge difference in the population health, and we're not seeing the Bordetella and the upper respiratory, and so we're not spending as much time and effort making them healthy. We're keeping them healthy, and then they're getting to be transferred, and I'm just amazed. I'm just absolutely amazed. In the old shelter, they were all sick. Now there might be one that's sick, and then it's isolated and kept, in a place where it doesn't contract or infect other cats. And our design is working. I mean, it's working right now, and it's just amazing to see that happen. So I want to say thank you to the volunteers, the community, the rescues that are helping, and to each individual person who's supporting our program. So it does take, a village to tackle this problem, and I'm seeing that those collaborations are starting to take effect, and I can't wait to share every month. I just know it's going to be exciting. But if anyone has any questions about some of the things that we're trying new things, or if you have suggestions, I'm all ears.
Comments or questions? Yeah, Member
I just-
Roseman Mendoza.
I just want to give a personal thank you for everything you've done and that Animal Services has done. You've been an amazing part of our community, keeping the animals thriving and moving into homes and keeping things going. Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Echoing Member Roseman Mendoza, and thank you so much for also putting together the celebration for the volunteers as well as the available pets. It's obvious that your organization is thriving. You've got so many folks wanting to come out and participate, wanting to be a part of it. So love seeing all of that and all of the excitement that you continually share in celebrating your team and your volunteers. So thank you very much. Any other information? Anyone from the committee, comments or questions? Okay, the only other thing that I will say for item for information is next month it would be fantastic to perhaps be able to see the asset report, should the auditor have that one available or have an understanding of when that would come through committee. As well as being able to continue to celebrate successes. I hope the themes of being excited of what happened in 2025 carries on to 2026. Everybody here has done some really amazing work and excited to be part of this with you all going forward. With that, we can go ahead on to item number 5, other business and communication. Next meeting is February 4th, 5 p.m. And thank you all for your commitment and your service to the county. This meeting is adjourned.